Hi there, another trading week has gone by and it's time to review our trades of week 25 in 2022. First off, please, if you want to follow me, do that. You can do that at patreon.com/DaveTromp. You will find most of my trades over there. If you become a paid patron, you can see all my trades, but I also share trades without you having to become a Patreon. So have a look at that, and now let's dive into what we will cover this week. So what markets will I review? We'll have a look at some forex pairs that I've traded this week, and also I will share how I look to the coming week, how to trade some forex pairs. We'll look at some metals trades, some trades on indices, energy, and crypto. So let's first start off with forex. So we'll have a look at the USD CAD, USD Japanese yen, and the Swissy. So let's switch over to the charts. So there we go. This is the USD CAD. In my previous video last week, I already said that I would be looking for shorts in this region up here, as we have this channel, and we did not quite reach the top of the channel, but we did have a resistance zone right here, or a supply zone, and then we had some bullish momentum here with these two red candles, so I decided to get in. I got it in a bit early, but on Friday we did see a drop again. I think it's still possible to get into this trade if you maybe place an entry at the 50% retracement of this bearish engulfing candle, and then maybe a stop above this region here, just like I have on the chart. Also, if we add the Bollinger Bands, then you can see we went to the top of the Bollinger Band, and then we had this bearish momentum. So that was enough reason for me to place this trade, and I will trade it a little bit across the middle of the band, and then I will be getting out, because the trend is up, although it's a very weak trend, but it is up. So I don't want to trade it too far to the downside, because then the momentum will to the upside will pick up. So then I want to be out of a short trade. Japanese yen, we've seen a lot of momentum here, big moves up. The yen is clearly weakening, and now we are getting ready, I believe, for another leg up, as we have this support area, and we went down into this support area last week, and now we have formed here a bullish pin bar. Let's see if it's really a good pin bar. Let me just take the Fibonacci retracement. Let's see if we have. It's not quite good. So at this point, the opening here of the candle was too low compared to the wick. If the wick would have been longer, then it would have been a good pin bar. So in this case I will wait for some bullish momentum, maybe even again a retrace, and then I'll be looking for a possible long trade. Moving on to the Swiss franc. So I placed this trade here on the Swiss franc that you can see here, and then I bailed out when I realized that I did not follow my rules correctly. So I always like to see a trend. Well, we have a trend here, and I like to see a level that I can trade off. Well, we have a level right here, and based on that I got in. But also here, this pin bar is not quite a good of a signal. Let me see if I can show that correctly. So also here, if we take the Fibonacci retracement, then we can see that the wick is just too short for this to be a proper entry signal. And then you saw that the day after price dropped, but I got out at a minus 0.1 R, so that's for a small loss, so that I was correcting myself in that case, so that was good. Still, the stop placement would still have kept me in the trade, so that is also reinforcing that this stop placement I'm using is quite correct, because I think from here on we might even see a bounce higher, but then again I'm not in the trade, and so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so now let's move on to the metals. I still have a trade on gold and silver and palladium, and I got stopped out on a platinum trade, and we will have a look at the gold and silver ratio. So let's have a look here at gold. So I've been in this trade for 2 weeks almost now, or maybe even more. I'm not quite sure. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's almost 3 weeks. But I still think it will reach the bottom here of this level. It will go slowly. Let me just add some moving averages. So we're still below the 50-day moving average. So the momentum is still more to the downside, and I think we will retest this bottom here before we potentially go higher. So this trade is still on, and I'm patiently waiting for it to hit target or either be stopped out. Then looking at silver, always moves a little bit quicker than gold, and on Friday my target was hit here at this bottom level, and I'm out of this trade for a 1.65 R. And also based on this momentum that we hit my target here on silver, I think gold will also move lower, because you very often see that silver is just moving a little bit more aggressive, and then gold will also tend to move in that direction, just a little bit slower. Let's first have a look at palladium. So I'm in 2 trades here, and I've moved the stop lower of the first trade to the same level as the stop of the second trade, and the trend is still down. We're still below the 50 moving average, so I am still convinced that these trades can work out with a high probability. Of course they can always be stopped out, but there's a high probability that these trades will still go to the downside, and that it will work out. So I'm hanging on to these trades. Also, you need a lot of patience for these kind of trades, as you can see. Let's look at the trade that I took here at the platinum. So I got in here when price moved to this level, but at this point here I figured it would be better to get out, so I got out for a small loss of 0.4 R, because I took this trade based on a pattern that I thought I had seen here. That was a reversed head and shoulders pattern, and I thought it was a retest of this next line. So there's this neckline here. If you look at the head and shoulder pattern, so the head and shoulder pattern is maybe, let me draw it out for you. Let me use this one. So we have something like this. Prices are moving like this. So we have here, let me just finish drawing it and then I'll show you how I looked at this. So let me just quickly remove these. I don't want to remove it, just hide it. So here we have shoulder, the head, shoulder, and then this is the neckline. So I figured this was a retrace to the neckline, but then again, also here I did not wait for a proper signal, because just touching a level is not enough. And also I figured that on longer term we have this uptrend, so I figured there's a probability it would go higher based on that the trend is up. Then again, price just broke through this level. There was no signal here that I should have waited for. So if I would have waited for a signal, then I would not have entered this trade. So that's a lesson for me, not to deviate from my entry rules. So I always want to see a trend, a level to trade from, and then a signal. So I realized that when the price was moving lower, and then I reevaluated the trade, and I saw that I did not trade according to the rules that I've set for myself. So I got out and corrected myself. Let's quickly look at the gold to silver ratio. I always like to look at that and then zoom out and see where gold and silver are heading. So let me just switch to a line chart and remove all these indicators. I'm just adding them, so that's just... So you can see that when prices or the ratio is below here, then gold is cheap, and when the ratio is here, silver is cheap. So when the ratio was spiking higher here, I bought quite some silver, and when prices are moving here, I'm just doing nothing, and when prices will start to go lower, I will exchange my silver for gold, or at least do not buy silver but just buy gold. So I do this with a longer term perspective, and my goal is to hoard, or to hodl, if you want, more gold. And you can do that by buying silver that's relatively cheap and then sell the silver for gold when the ratio is moving downward. So if the ratio is below 70 or 60, then I will start to exchange my silver for gold, and then I have gold, and if the silver ratio goes up again, like above 85, 90, then I will exchange again my gold for silver. And by doing this, in the long run, you will accumulate more and more gold. And in my opinion, gold is real money. Everything else is just paper and a promise to be paid in the future. So that's the gold and silver ratio. So let's move on to the next section, indices. So I had a couple of trades on the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, or a couple. I had actually just one on the S&P 500 and one on the Nasdaq. Both got stopped out, as you will see. And I think on all these indexes there are potential trade setups coming. I also have a trade on the TLT, that's the long-term treasury ETF. It's not quite an index, but I just wanted to group it here and to discuss it as well. So let's go to the charts again and have a look. So let's switch back to the daily and to the candlestick charts. Let's zoom to the normal size again. Let's start with the trades that got stopped out. So on Friday I got stopped out here on the S&P 500. I was short, and I also got stopped out here on the Nasdaq as there was a rally going on. So let's just put on some indicators again. So the 50, the 20 and the 8. So The way I looked at it is we have this downtrend going on the Nasdaq. So we have a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low. Then we have this level forming here. And then we broke this level, we retested it. Let me just get rid of this. We retested it with this candle here. And then we had a bearish engulfing candle. And then I got in at the 50% retracement of this engulfing candle. Looking back at the trade, there is not significant time lapse between the break and the retrace, which lowers the probability. So as you can see now, we've gone back and broke this level here, and also went past my stop loss. There's nothing we can do about it, that just happens, and I still think this market will go lower, but for now I will be waiting for some sort of indication that momentum will turn to the downside. Maybe on Monday we will see a huge red candle here, and that could indicate that we will be heading lower again. Let me see the S&P 500, same kind of story here. This candle here moved higher on Friday, and now we are exactly at this support level that turned resistance now. So also here, if we see a pattern that indicates a reversal and some downward momentum, then I will be taking a short. The US 30, aka the Wall Street, the Dow Jones, same story here. Also nicely on this level. Also we have this gap here that is now being closed. So now we can easily turn around and see some more downside. I won't trade it right away. Again, we have this level, we have a downtrend, and now I want to see some kind of entry signal, some indication that we have new momentum to the downside. So I want to see sellers stepping in, pushing prices lower. An open trade that is still running is the trade I have on the TLT. So that's the 20-year Treasury bond ETF. We saw again the same pattern here. So we have this downtrend, we broke this support level, and then we had a retest. I figured the retest was already here on this area, and then we had a move lower, and I decided to place an entry right here at the this low of this swing, so this swing low here, and we just went past it, and now we saw a pin bar here and a nice bearish candle. So I'm pretty convinced that on Monday we will see this market going lower. Then again, it might not happen, but I think there's a high probability that this can happen. So this trade is still valid for me. I'm not gonna bail out of this trade, and let's see how it plays out. I will update you, of course, in the next review next week. Moving on, energy. So for energy, I had a trade on Brent oil, and I also took it off early, and I want to have a look at natural gas, because it looks as if prices are turning around and we will see lower gas prices. So let's have a look at that and see how we can trade that. So Brent oil, so here I'm looking at the futures, and I will be trading this with, I traded this with CFDs. Yes, here we had this trend going up here, we had this trend line. Just draw that a little bit better. Oh wait, I have to put it on the log scale. That is how I was looking at it. So here we had this uptrend, clear uptrend, and now prices moved back to the trend line, and then we had this pin bar. So I placed an entry at the break of the pin bar, and my stop was below this pin bar with some buffer. I mostly use the ATR to do this. So if you have the ATR here, the value of the ATR, I usually add that as a buffer to my stop. And as you can see, if I did not took this trade off, I would still be in this trade, because this pin bar of this wick here just missed my stop. So it's actually good stop placement in my opinion, and I think we will see higher prices now. But I got out at minus 0.7 R, so that's around here more or less. So I saw prices moving down very rapidly. There was a lot of momentum. So I said, let's reconsider this trade, let's get out of it and reevaluate. So I will be following this trade, see how it plays out, and I might even get back in. Let's see how would that look. Maybe if we break higher again, and then maybe a retest here, and then we might see this kind of movement. So that's what I will be looking at. Then again, looking at the fundamentals, there's a lot of problems with inflation and recession that we might be in already. I think we are already in a worldwide recession, at least in the Western world. So I think we might see lower oil prices due to this. So I will be looking at that news headline very closely to see if we might even see lower price here. So we could also, if there's a fundamental, if the fundamentals clearly show that we are heading into a recession or are already in a recession, then we might see prices move lower, and then a retest will be, for me, the area to get into a short trade if we see the proper signal for entry. Because then at that point we will have this downtrend going on like this. So yeah, so that's how I will be trading Brent. Let's move on to gas, natural gas, that is, because this is kind of correlated, of course, to the to oil. Here too we see a short-term downtrend, and we just broke this support level here. So if we don't see a move higher on Monday, then I think it's very probable that we will see lower prices for gas. So I would be trading that like this, so we can see move lower and then a retest, and then we could possibly have a trade to the downside. If we do see strength coming in, and then I think we can see some consolidation between these two levels here, and then we have to see if prices really go higher again, and then if prices do go higher, then we can also trade a retest and then see it to the upside. Okay, almost there. Hang on, I'm gonna have a look at cryptos. I do not trade cryptos actively. I hodl cryptos, but I do trade cryptos using CFDs. So I do not actually hold these cryptos then, but I just trade the price action. So just to make that clear, I have a trade that's still on Litecoin. It might even already hit target because it's quite close. Then I'll share my view on Bitcoin, and we'll also have a look at Monero. So let's first look at my trade on Litecoin. So this is actually a counter trend trade that I took. And so we do have this very strong downtrend, and then we hit this level here, and it's a very significant long-term level that's been in the market for quite some time, and based on the price action that we've seen here, so we've seen these we saw this very strong move down, and then this bearish candle was enough for me to be convinced that we could see higher prices on Litecoin. So I decided to place my entry here, stop below this level with some buffer using the ATR, and targeting the bottom of this range here. So this is kind of there's a support level here, and that has become resistance, so I want to be out if price hits this level or just before. And from there on we might even see another move down on Litecoin. For the longer term, I hope that's not the case. I just hope it will go up, but hope doesn't pay the bills, so I don't hope, I just trade what I see. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit this very long-term significant level. If we just zoom out, you can see it is the top of the 2017 bull run, and we just went past it. So the top was around 19,500 or something like that, 19,900, almost 20,000. So prices were pushed through it, and then you can see here that the buyers stepped in, and now we're kind of hovering above this level, and we have to see what it will bring. Still, the longer term trend is down, so if you really want to trade it, I would wait for a break lower and then a retest. But you can also say that it might be a good moment to buy some Bitcoin, because many people said when prices were here at 60,000, they said if it goes down 50%, I will certainly buy. And now we've gone down more than 50%, and then people get scared and they don't want to buy anymore. Just know that cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin is very volatile, so these price swings may seem crazy, but they're just part of the price you pay for having your own custody of your own money. So that's how I look at it. So I'm willing to sit through these wild swings, and I actually see these swings to the downside as a good buying opportunity to stack some sets. Let's have a look at Monero. Monero is a privacy currency that uses proof of work. So in that sense, it's the same as Bitcoin, only the transactions are not publicly visible. So it's not as easy, or it's not possible yet at this moment for the transactions to be tracked, and it's not possible to see who actually holds what. So that's one of the downsides of Bitcoin. It's actually also a good thing of Bitcoin that everything can be tracked. So that makes it transparent. But sometimes you don't want this, because governments and big institutions, they have the tools and the willpower to figure out who owns what, and then of course tax you, and that's never a good thing. So I have some Monero for this, just in case, to be my own sovereign individual. And let's have a look at what the Monero price is doing against Bitcoin. So we can, of course, now let's first look at the price against the dollar, and then you can see that it's moving up nicely, just like Bitcoin. Yeah, so this is the chart. So if you would have bought some Monero in 2016 and you still have it, then you would be a crypto millionaire. Unfortunately, I didn't do that, but I do hold some Monero just to have something that cannot be tracked, and to store my wealth in. And then let's compare it to Bitcoin and see how Monero has been doing against Bitcoin, to see if it's just as good or maybe it's better. If we zoom out, and here you can see as of 2018 it has been going down against Bitcoins. This means that Bitcoin has gone up more in US dollar terms than Monero. So it doesn't mean that Monero has been a bad investment. It has been just less good if you would have bought it in 2018. But I also want to have a look at the longer term price chart. Let's see, I can only find that on TradingView. So let's see, let's open up this one. Yes, this is Monero against Bitcoin as of 2015 up until now. And looking at it like this, then we can actually say that Monero and Bitcoin price is just circling around this average price where it is right now. So it's been overvalued, Monero against Bitcoin, and now it's, I would say, at fair value, and it had been here undervalued. So that's one way of looking at it. If you want to compare it to Bitcoin, you could say that at this moment it's at fair value with Bitcoin. So I suggest you do your own research into Monero and don't take this as financial advice, but this is just my view. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel. I will be posting these kind of videos every week, giving you my view on the markets and reviewing my trades. If you want to follow my trades, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You don't have to become a patron right away. I will also post some free stuff on Patreon. But if you want to see everything, all the trades that I take, then you can become a patron and you will support this channel and my work that I do every week. Okay, so thanks for watching and see you the next time. Bye.